special work session to order for Monday, December 11th, 2023. And we're going to call the roll. Alderman Barnhill.
Present.
Alderman Blanton.
Here.
Alderman Caesar.
Here.
Alderman Peterson.
Here.
Alderman Berger.
Present.
Vice Mayor Brown.
Present.
Alderman Potts.
Present.
Alderman Baggett.
Present.
And the mayor is here, so we have full attendance. Now's an opportunity for citizens to make comments. And if there's anyone who wants to speak now, I'd ask them to come forward. I don't see a rush. So we'll go on to item 1, which is discussion of the strategic plan updated, and I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Stuckey.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for being part of this. Thanks for making time. We're starting just a little bit after 5, and our firm commitment to you is that you'll be done at 7 o'clock. There's a Titans game at 7:15, and I've made personal commitments to some of you about that timing. So we're going to hit that just right, and that's plenty of time to get us kicked off. And tonight is really just about setting the stage and kicking off a process that we'll go through over the next probably 3 to 4 months, maybe a little bit longer, as we work through an update and a refresh and possibly even a reimagination of our strategic plan. Strategic planning is critically important because it helps us chart our future. It helps us make decisions about what's important. It serves to guide our actions and frame our decisions. So it helps for us to step out of the day-to-day, the grind of an agenda, to do that and think through that together. 10 years ago, we adopted the Envision Franklin strategic plan, the first ever strategic plan for the city of Franklin. Franklin Forward. Franklin Forward. I was thinking about land use. Sorry. Franklin Forward. And so that had a 20-year outlook. It also established measures and accountability that we'd not had before, over 60 different measures, and it did some good things for us. It became a framework that we put all of our decisions and our presentation and thoughts through the budget to help guide that. So that's been good. But it's 10 years later. A lot has changed in our world. Different challenges are before us, and we also have an opportunity to really shape and reimagine this, as I said, with your feedback. We have a different board, we're in a different time, and really my hope for this too is that this is something that starts and finishes with your guidance. And that's where we start today with talking about the process, the values that are important to you, and then we're going to have a series of efforts in the next several months to gather information that will help shape the guidance you provide for us in this process. So here's the analogy I want to share with you. I thought of this weekend because I drove up to Ohio for my nephew's wedding. And I'm putting in the address of the place in Dublin, Ohio that we're going to for the wedding and wedding reception. And of course, I'm using like Waze, right, for that. So it's just, that's what we're doing here. We're charting a destination, right? Where do we want to go? And the horizon we're going to use is a big picture 10 years, but we're also going to have 1 year and 2 year and 3 year sort of benchmarks and things that are important to us in that shorter time frame. So it's like me driving to central Ohio. I have an idea about when I want to get to Elizabethtown, when I want to get to Louisville, when I want to get to Cincinnati, and then ultimately my destination. So that's the same thing we're doing here, is thinking about that. And there'll be decisions along the way that could be a little bit of a detour or a distraction. And we want a framework that'll help us process that. It might be a distraction, or it might be something that really enriches the decision and helps the community even more. So that's the kind of framework we want to have that helps chart that course, that destination or destinations we have in mind for our community in a 10-year window, but also what's achievable and doable and that we ought to focus on in the next year, 2 years, 3 years. And that really is something we want to make sure you own and you help guide us as your staff team and help shape the decisions we make as a community, but through your leadership. So that's really my analogy, the thought to kind of chart what this is about. We do have a tour guide, maybe a traffic cop, I don't know. Corey Plash, rhymes with splash. I like that because I'm Eric Stuckey, rhymes with cookie, right? So we bonded over names that rhyme. But Corey has a really rich background and experience that she'll share some more with you. But I love the fact that she started her public service career as a 911 dispatcher. So she maybe has some experience about taking in information and help providing the right guidance for the right resources in the right place. So I think that's a great fit for what we're going to try to do over the next several months as we work together on this. So that's just sort of my framing where I think where we are and the excitement that I have about doing this. I just think it will make a huge difference for us. And quite frankly, we've been through a lot in the last year. So what better time to come together and talk about what we can be, right? So I love that you all made time in the busiest time of year to do this. And this is how we kick it off. And then we're going to build over the next 2, 3, 4 months to get to where we need to be to make good decisions, help set that framework. So I'm going to turn it over to Corey. You do need to use the mics, not for amplification, but for the recording that will be provided to the public. And we'll go from there. So I'm going to hand my mic off to Corey, and we'll take it away from there.
And as my kids would tell you, the struggle is real. I am not going to do this. This is not going to be good for me. I'm going to give it my best shot, though, guys. All right, so as Eric mentioned, my name's Corey Porras-Plash. I spent about 10 years in local government, starting my career as a 911 dispatcher. I actually also worked in the city manager's office in a couple of different communities. I've been kind of all over the place, but I love local government. And so my career has either been in local government or serving local government. This is where the important stuff happens. When I went to grad school, my daughter said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "You know how when you get up in the morning and you go in and you turn on the faucet to brush your teeth?" And she said, "Yeah." I said, "The water comes out?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "I'm going to help make that happen." And that's what you guys do, right? That's the important stuff, and that's what happens at the local level. That's why my career is devoted to this. So a little bit of introductions. You guys got to know me. I want to get to know you, if I could, a little bit. So if you could let me know your name, how long you've been on the board, and what is your favorite thing about living in Franklin? And I'm going to start over here because you're the early bird, and so.
All right, I'm Patrick Baggett, the alderman of the 4th Ward, which is, you're in the 4th Ward now. And I've been on the board for 25 months now. For those counting, that's 2 years and 1 month. And my favorite thing about living in Franklin, I think, is that this community has a special, I think, feel. The people have a special feel about them. I think everyone here, by and large, has a camaraderie and a love. But also, Franklin, things happen in Franklin. I think people get things done that in other communities it's just like almost unattainable for some reason. And so our community works really well together, and things can seem to happen here.
I love it, getting things done.
Yeah, that a lot of other communities struggle with.
Love it, thank you.
I was going to try to add up the days just to mess with you, but that is way more effort than it's worth at this point.
And there is a game at 7:15.
And there
I'm
is,
just
so let's not even waste time. Matt Brown, I've been on the board for a couple years, and no doubt my favorite thing about Franklin is we just are a very gracious, very giving, very welcoming community. Any community that boasts as many nonprofits as we do, I use that as my benchmark because the fact that we can support all of them and that we engage all of them and that all of them have such an important role in our community, I think that says as much about Franklin as anything else.
Yeah, excellent, thank you.
Did you get my end of the year donation request? Okay, just saying. I'm development director for a nonprofit, so hey. My name is Brandy Blanton. I have been on the board for, I'm going into the first month of my 4th term, so 12 years plus. My favorite thing about living in Franklin is multi-tiered. I have been here since I was 10 years old. So for me, it's familiarity, it's relationships.
Yeah.
It's just home. So I have no desire to go anywhere else. And I feel like, I mean, this is where I've grown up. My children have grown up. So I have equity here that I will never sell.
Yeah.
So y'all are stuck with me.
And I'm Beverly Berger, and I represent Ward 1. I've been on the board going into my 19th year. When I first got elected, I thought I'll serve 2 terms and do something else. But I always go to my constituents and ask them if they want me to run again before I do. And anyway, I think that my favorite thing about Franklin is community.
Okay.
And everybody, I think, if they want to, can't force them to, but if you want to, everyone can find a place here. And I've watched this place. I moved here in 2003, and I ran in 2005. People said, oh, you don't really know much about Franklin. I watched Franklin grow. I first visited Franklin in the 60s and came back in the through the 70s, but I visited here often in the 80s and 90s when I lived in Huntsville, Alabama. We had a lot of soccer tournaments up here, and I saw the mall being built. I saw Cool Springs. I saw when the Marriott went up, when the roads went through. So I've seen a lot of those changes, and we've had a lot of changes, and I think that gave me a good background to know Franklin and to really get to jump in with both feet and get to know it and to network it.
Yeah.
Network with the people, but the people, the community.
Excellent. Thank you.
Welcome, Corey.
Thank
and
you.
I'm Ken Moore. I was elected alderman at large in 2007 and became mayor by accident in 2011, and I'm in my 4th elected term. And you know, I'm in Franklin because my wife told me when I retired from practicing orthopedic surgery, she says, I'm moving home. And I didn't balk too much because I'd heard my wife talk about the childhood she had growing up and how special it was and all the people and personalities. And what I found is everything she said is true, but Franklin at the same time I see as a community that really cares about each other. They're a community that welcomes people to this community. And also there's some level of energy, I don't know what it is, but there's an energy here that people feel when they come here. So whatever that mysterious thing is, I don't know.
Sounds like we should bottle that. Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, let's buy a bottle and get it.
Good evening. I'm Jason Potts, and I'm the alderman for Ward 3.
Okay.
And same as Patrick and Matt, I've been in this capacity for 2 years and a month now, and it's been a great experience. You know, there's a lot of things that are my favorites about Franklin, but I think the number one thing for me is definitely it's the people.
Okay.
And and I say it's the people, the residents, I don't even want to say necessarily the constituents. It's every single person that you run into. As you're saying, they moved here for a reason.
Uh-huh.
They want to stay here for a reason. And it's this intangible golden thread that I think is in the fabric of our community. And it's what makes it great. You can go anywhere, anytime, do anything, and you feel at home.
Okay. Excellent.
I
Excellent.
see people pointing. I don't know if our mic's
Yeah.
working. I can.
No, I
move
think
it
you're
around.
good. Yeah.
Not for amplification, it's for the broadcast.
Yep.
You're
So
good.
amps-
All right.
Yep. The mics are good. Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, absolutely.
This one working
Yep,
also.
Yep.
Very
You are
good.
on.
Very good.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
I'm Ann Peterson. I have been an alderman for 16 years and I guess a month. Is that right? But
Yeah, we are counting months apparently. So yes.
But whenever I first moved here, Franklin was a little town close to a big town.
Yeah.
It had maybe 7,000 or 8,000 people in it. Now it has 80-something thousand people.
Yeah.
So I've seen a lot of things happen here. And in fact, even before I became an alderman, I was on the planning commission, and so voted on all of that stuff that everybody's talking about the Galleria. We didn't even have any Class A office space, and now all that we have. So it's been a wonderful place to be, and as we say, so often people feel whenever they get here that they're at home.
Yeah.
And so I think that's one of the very nice parts about living in Franklin.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm Clyde Barnhill, Alderman at Large, and I've been on the board for 31 years. So my favorite thing about Franklin is, even though you have an opportunity to travel around and see other communities and see other towns, you don't see anything, I don't, anywhere that would make it advantageous for me to be someplace else. So I'm not sure what all that covers, but Franklin is home. I'm a lifetime resident of Williamson County. I've moved to Franklin in 1969 from the county. So I've been here a long time, and I was able to see the mall being built.
Wow.
I was able to see the mall being built, which is this mall.
That's right.
Wow, thank you.
And that'll cover a little.
I appreciate it. I'm Greg Caesar, and I've been an alderman. I'm an at-large alderman as well for less days than Clyde's been years. So 27 days I've been in this seat. So I think what makes Franklin special to me, my family and I moved here in 2007.
Okay.
This is home for my children. My
Okay.
daughters and sons have all started and some have finished school here, which is quite exciting for them. And I think in a short way, Franklin embraces progress without the abandonment of its historic relevance. And I think that's a very intricate and difficult needle to thread.
Yeah.
And we've done it thus far pretty well.
Awesome, thank you, thank you. Yeah.
I had more
Yeah,
time
good
than
stuff there, right? Excellent, thank you. Well, what I didn't throw into my introduction, but I will share now, is actually my grandfather was in the Air Force and was stationed in Smyrna, and my father grew up here. And so I used to come as a child with him in summers, and we used to vacation a lot here in Tennessee. So I enjoy coming back because for me it is kind of like coming home because we did spend a lot of time here. So I don't get the pleasure of living here, but I do appreciate so much of what you're saying because it is a very welcoming part of the country. So there's no secret as to why I started there because we're going to talk some about values tonight. But first I'm going to kind of tag on to what Eric started with the little road analogy here. I'm going to tell you some of the landmarks that you're going to see on our way to, was it Ohio?
To Franklin.
So, as Eric mentioned, we are going to do a strategic plan over the next several months. And I get to be your tour guide. That's a new title for me, but I kind of like it, so I may keep it. So tonight we're starting out with the board values and the project initiation. So we're just going to kind of talk through what this is going to look like. Hopefully you guys are not going to get sick of me because you're going to see a lot of me over the next several months. I'm kind of excited about it. We're going to be doing some stakeholder data collection. I actually had an opportunity to meet with a couple of people earlier today and kind of talk through some of that, but it sounds like we're going to probably do a couple of surveys, maybe some focus groups. We're also going to do an environmental scan, which is basically just kind of talking through some of the things that are going on in the community so we can really kind of get a good handle on all of the things that are happening here in Franklin that we need to consider as we start looking towards the future. We're going to do a staff values session. As we're talking about organizational values today from the board perspective, we're going to look at it from the staff perspective as well. We're going to do a strategy session where we actually share all of this with the board and with staff so that everybody kind of understands where it is that we're coming, kind of where everything is at. We're going to do a SWOT survey. So something that I do is a little bit different is I will go ahead and we'll do that in advance to give everybody a chance to really kind of think through answers. SWOT's pretty simple. It's simply strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So we'll do that prior to that strategic planning retreat. Something else that we'll do is a measure gallery. All a measure gallery is when we go through, we'll do that strategic planning retreat. We'll figure out some of those strategic goals that we want to have. what outcomes are. And all outcomes are is, what does success look like? We're going to figure that out together. Then we're going to actually come down to, and Eric kind of talked about it, what are some measures? How do we know exactly what success looks like? And then we're going to share it. We're going to make sure that we're sharing it with staff and we really kind of understand, is this the right thing? Are we measuring this in the right way? We're going to do that with a measure gallery. And then I'm going to come back and work with staff in a couple different sessions. And then finally, the final report, where we pull everything together and we're able to share it. Lots of TBDs there, but we will be filling those in later. Let's talk about values. So the reason why I asked everybody to share the question that I did, what you like best about living in Franklin, is because that really is kind of what the heart of values are, right? It's what's so important about Franklin. From a strategic planning perspective, we talk a lot about things like vision and mission. So vision's where we're going, future focused. It's very general. Mission is about what we exist to do. It's current, and it's also a little bit more specific. But values are the foundation for that. So they shape our vision, and our vision and mission have to be consistent with your values. And just so you know, say vision, mission, values about 5 times fast. It's a tongue twister. So values are a core set of beliefs that are held by an organization. They're the guiding principles, right? It sets the tones for interactions. So here's the thing about values. This is what sets the tone for your entire organization. For the board, for Eric, for the 911 dispatcher, for the police officer on the street, for your public works person, everybody in between. For the way that you interact with each other, with the public, with your businesses, that's what values are. Values answer these questions. What do we stand for? What behaviors do we value over all else? How are we going to conduct our activities to achieve our mission and vision? And how do we treat members of our organization and our community? We're going to figure out all this tonight. So here are some sample values to kind of get us started. Values are things like empathy, putting yourself in the shoes of another person. Now I want to draw yourself to something real quick. It's not just a word. You notice it's a word and it's a definition. Because words can mean different things to different people. And we need to know what it means in Franklin. So we're going to go through a process tonight of we're going to start with a word. And then we're going to define what it means here in Franklin. So things like respect, treating every person like your neighbor, your family. Integrity, we mean what we say and we do what we say. Welcoming, open to difference. We're receptive, we listen, and we're open to the differences of others. Fair and consistent. We're fair, consistent, and respectful in our service to the public. So again, these are some examples, and I'll put these up again for you later, but these are the kinds of things that when we talk about values in the public sector, these are the kinds of things that we're going to get to. So this is where the fun starts. This is where I stop talking, and you guys get to start working. I have got a list of very general values, and I do mean they are very, very general, but that's on purpose. What I want you, if you could, thanks. Everybody got to pick out their very favorite color Post-it note, and hopefully you chose well. What I'd like you to do is I'd like you to review the list of values, and there's some on the front and on the back. Out of that list, I want you to choose 8. 8.
Gotta be easy.
8 values that you think reflect the city of Franklin. So the values need to answer those 4 questions.
Currently, or what we hope it to be?
Values are current. It
So
is
it represents us today.
if they answer the 4 questions.
Got
What do we stand for? What behaviors do we value over all else? How we conduct our activities to achieve our mission and vision. And again, those are going to come later. And then how do we treat members of our organization, our community? So you guys have got about 10 minutes to do that. So each value gets its own Post-it note. So you'll have no more than 8 Post-it notes when you're done. Yep. Everybody should have a Sharpie. Please use the Sharpie.
So just write that word on.
Just one value per Post-it note. And front and back.
We don't need, okay. I guess I should have sat there by hand.
Are you defining City of Franklin as our internal city, or the entire city, or just the government?
What do we stand for? We being elected officials, we being
The organization.
The
City of
organization?
The
Franklin.
organization. You guys are representing the organization.
Okay,
You are the
the
elected body.
All right, okay, got it. So we're talking about ourselves, okay, in our city.
Yeah. You guys are representative of the organization.
The government.
You guys are, you guys are representative, you guys are representative of the organization. You guys are the guiding body for the organization. You guys are responsible for policy, you set direction. So this is part of that direction setting.
And we can add our own if we want.
You can? Yep. And I can't wait to see what you have, because I got a pretty long list there, so.
I knew you would have one.
That sounds like a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
He's ambitious. Yes.
I want to see what you have. I'm curious.
It's a compliment.
Uh-huh. And I reserve the right to add it to my list too, just so you know.
It's a copywritten word.
I'm sorry.
It's a branded word. He tries to add it to everything.
It's brown tat. I see that anywhere on it. I use like the term liberate.
Word check.
Yeah.
What if there's things on here that we aren't necessarily, but you want to be? That's the disconnect for me, because
Sure.
I'm dealing with current,
Envisioning.
and I'm not saying
Versus
versus
aspiration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I would say.
because I don't want you to go, oh, you've already said you're 8, and I'm like, well, you said today. That doesn't mean I don't have hopes for tomorrow.
So this is going to be the foundation of your vision.
Oh, so, yeah, that's very helpful to know.
So this is where we are,
So this is the.
and then we'll have a chance to say where we want to go.
Well, it needs to. if it's
No,
gonna
I
be the
think she's
foundation.
saying this is what we want our foundation.
It can be something that is, foundational. So I would say it could be aspirational, but I would say that it could not, but I would not say though that it should be wildly aspirational, right?
I don't know, that doesn't compute. It's either, are we dealing with today, now, or are we dealing with hopes and dreams and future?
That's the.
So-
I'm not there, where you said deal with now.
It is the foundation of mission and vision, so that's why I said I would not do something that is wildly aspirational, but if it is something that is your,
Yes, I do that.
okay,
That doesn't compute to me, either we're, we can hope all day long or have an aspiration, but I'm not in reality then. Reality is here today. Does it exist enough today? Or is it, well, pick a word, logical, I don't know. Are we logical today? Sure.
I would say that you want something that is,
Attainable?
I didn't mean to rock the boat, but
No,
I wanted to
that's
make
okay.
sure you got.
it is the foundation of your mission and vision.
Today, or what we want
But
it
it
to
is,
be.
it can be both, but it should not be something that is not,
Attainable?
it is not attainable and it is not,
Relevant? Or,
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't do something that you don't feel is attainable.
like, in the next year?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it still screws me all up now. I put this down future stuff, I have to deal with today. All right, I'm just gonna stay with today.
Simmer down your action. You're very loud.
What?
Your chips, and your
All
swirl.
right,
So I'm finished. If you're taking that, that'd be great, thank you. You want to help me with the answers here? Good. I'm halfway there.
We'll get to that in just a second.
I don't think so, but I'm appreciative.
Got a couple minutes left.
Hope we've got all of that.
Sorry, I thought it was a trash can.
Do you have your 8?
Do I have the egg?
Yep, okay.
Oh, man, that's fight right there.
How are we doing? Because we're at 10 minutes. Good. Okay. You good?
I'm at 7. 1 second, please.
Okay.
There are no wrong answers.
There are no wrong answers.
No one will look back and say, Patrick Maggis put that in.
Yes, ma'am, I'm done. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay. So what I'd like to do then is if we could just go around quickly and as much or as little explanation as you would like to give, knowing that there is a Titans game at 7:15. If you could just tell us what your 8 values were. And I'm still going to start with you, my friend who was early.
Yeah, it's a mic. Get him a mic.
Yep, got to give him a mic though.
But you do want explanation.
Just
You should
brief,
probably
please.
limit our explanation.
Yes, a 7:15 Titans game, I thought I did that, but
Yeah.
maybe that wasn't enough.
Oh, you get us going, we'll keep going. All
Well,
right,
yeah, and so let's limit it to just, yeah,
So I did customer service, professional,
okay,
community, innovative. You wanted me to
yep,
list
no, that's
them all?
great,
Innovative, integrity,
okay,
excellence, relationships, results oriented.
okay.
Actually,
Let's just do that right now, let's just do that.
You don't want to
Nope, let's just, I think that's good.
I'm good. Oh, yeah.
Matt, your time's up.
Karaoke, can I do that right now? Impactful, hardworking, pragmatic, leadership, respectful, encouraging, character, and the one that I added, intentional.
Oh, that's a good one. I am gonna add that to my list.
Okay. Ethical, which we all know is very important. Accessibility, not only accessibility in person, but also ADA accessibility. Sorry, I work for special needs children.
Yeah,
Communication, caring, teamwork.
okay,
I added these two because Matt said we could. Focused.
okay,
And this is a value that's very important to me. I added heart
yeah,
because heart is kind of like the wraparound for all of those other things.
Yeah.
Kindness, whatever. Reasonable. And then I did a bonus of relationship, but I didn't make it one because you can't mandate a relationship.
okay,
But relationships are important.
okay.
Be relational.
Yeah. And by the way, I like the fact this points something out because I gave you guys a really big list and you guys added some. And that's one of the cool things about values, right? Like there can be more to it. So thank you. Please, go
I'm
ahead.
limited, I didn't add.
No, you're good.
Above and beyond,
Yeah,
capable, collaboration,
yeah.
customer focused, future focused, resourceful, sense of humor, and service.
I love it.
And I think we go above and beyond every day, not only the elected officials, but staff and the administration. We're very capable. Sometimes we don't even remember that we are, but we are. Collaboration, I think we're pretty good with that, with some examples of where we don't get to collaborate like we should sometimes. Customer focus, I think that is probably one of our stars that we could put on here. We always focus, I think, on if we're doing something, is it good today, is it good tomorrow? And is it good for the future? I think we really go above and beyond to be resourceful, and we do have a good sense of humor. And that's even getting better.
Yeah.
And then service, it is getting better, thanks to a few people. You did do your homework, right? And service is what it's all about.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm loving this. This is really good. My number one that I picked off your list was approachable,
Okay,
followed by caring,
yeah.
followed by communications, results, excellence, consistency.
Okay.
Because I see a lot of that from talking to citizens sometimes on city services, there's concern.
Yeah.
Innovative, ethical.
Love it. Thank you.
Sir. All right. I'm ready. All right, put me at the podium. In no particular order: visionary, service, leadership, dedication, respect for others, integrity, teamwork, and responsiveness.
Love it. Thank you. There were a couple new ones in there too, yeah.
Okay. Integrity, knowledgeable, safety, wisdom, honesty, ethical, hard work, and gratitude.
Oh, you've got a couple of new ones in there. Look at you. Nicely done.
Like the safety.
Yes.
My first one was approachable.
Okay.
My second one was change, concern for others, fair, flexible, trustworthy, reliable, and I put humor.
Yeah.
I think you probably better have a little humor if you're planning on doing what we do.
I agree. I agree.
Channel 10 is one of those watch stations.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay.
Approachable, character, continuous improvement, future focused, a new one, healthy, inviting, pragmatic, service, and welcoming is my ninth. Healthy was the late add, because I think you could look at healthy as physical fitness, but in this time I think the health of appropriate debate is starting to show up. It's something that we do well. I think the health of our community is working together. It doesn't mean we all hold hands and sing songs, but it means that we live life together, and I think that probably is the most appropriate way for me to define what we're doing.
Do they ordinarily break rules, coming up with ninth ones, bonus?
Matt invented a word. I think I could add one.
But that's okay. That is not a bad thing. It shows innovation, creativity. Yes, that is not a bad thing. I'm giving you guys a hard time. Thank you. Now.
Put them on a wall somewhere, right? Yep.
There you go. You saw this coming. Because what I was saying before is sometimes old school works. Sometimes the high technology stuff is very fun, and sometimes the old school stuff spurs some conversations that can be a lot of fun. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead. We're going to put all the value Post-its on the wall. We're going to work to organize the Post-its into some general themes. I think you guys have probably already heard some general themes that have come up. Now, I want to remind you guys of something. So we're going to try and get them into kind of 6 to 8 kind of specific words, but I want to remind you of something here. The way that we're going to do this is that it's not just a single word, but it's going to be a phrase that we come up with. So it may be that one of the words that you use may not be the word that comes, but it may be part of the explanation that comes later. So kind of keep that in mind as you're going through and you're organizing this. But let's see if we can start organizing this into some general themes. I thought we were going to start here, but now I'm thinking maybe that wall back there will give you guys a little bit more room to work.
Are we working as a group of all?
You guys are working as a group. Woo.
Our camera person is not here, so.
We need lots of room.
Yeah, I think the back wall will be a little bit better. And obviously discuss as a group as you go.
You got your workout on, Everyone is honest and trustworthy. Here's ethical. 6 months ago. Okay, we'll put it down there. Here, Patrick, come on next. Here's ethical, Patrick. It's teamwork, leadership. Character, good. This good? Yeah.
And then right next to it, here.
Caring, respect for each other. Service to me is caring. No?
Well, these three know together.
Yeah, my interpretation of services that we provide.
I don't think results and excellence go together.
There's a lot of organizations. His hands are still full. Got your results. You know, the excellent, we got your results. I think I'll drop down on response. I think we did.
We don't really care about it. We may need to capture some one-liners.
Right. I think that was sure.
Does this work for everybody? Reasonable with approachable or not necessarily?
Approachable.
No.
My interpretation of approachable
Where
was
are these guys?
somebody
Thanks
that
for
comes
asking.
and capable,
Okay, so this is more problem solving.
more like,
Where are these guys?
Maybe there?
you're capable.
Do you have your sense of humor one? I don't know what that does. And then
Innovation.
Oh, yeah. Do we know when?
That's a long time.
I was like, I can't commit to that.
Yeah, it would just be one day.
That's okay, that's what, yeah.
And so I just wanted to see where you guys want to fit in.
It's gonna be, well,
It's fantastic.
yeah.
It's fantastic weekend, most of it over the weekend, or much of it leave like on Sunday.
You know what?
I think that was more your reference.
Just realized that
Was that his
it's remind you.
I know some people that.
Look at it. You see that?
Figure out how to get that information.
I've got my first prop, I've got the.
Oh, yeah, right.
It's a video.
I think that's gonna be. every day. Is that what you meant by that? Well, I can't remember his first name, Brooks. Right now. So I sent her and she framed it really well. These were those I just thought it was awesome, so I'm giving that book. I'm giving that book after. Well, how much we do is by the first relationship. All church try to put together sort of the initial communication deck that we can start to then revise and figure out. We'll build the deck and it comes to ethics, leadership, organizational. Now, Ann has knowledgeable safety and wisdom. Safety probably. Or health and safety. Okay, yes. As I told the story of hiking to work, that's right. No, it's like on my face. Yeah, continuous improvement is on there to laugh. Right. That's a rubber word. Okay. I'll follow. Oh, sorry. Encourage. No gratitude. The holidays, I'm busy on call. Hey, real. Yeah, I know. Remove this better. Yeah, too. You're making progress. Stay off this line.
I told Matt, I was like, oh, why have I never seen it before? Like Jessica Davy, well, it's like, I was like, I have a problem. Jessica Davy reminds me of the redhead lady. The cartoon lady, the redhead cartoon.
For what? What is it?
Jessica Davy, like, darn it, like, a couple weeks ago, he took his glasses off and I was like, no. No, he looked just, I was like, oh my God, I've never seen it before. Take a lot of time.
I think you texted me. You texted me and said it.
Did I?
Uh-huh.
See, I lost it. But when I say y'all go, oh my God, I will find the picture of Jessica Davy. You know, St. Claus is coming town.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking
With
about.
the
Burgermeister,
yeah. She's like this sweet little red.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And her hair was like pulled back like this thing, and it's like part of the middle.
We're gonna see it.
St. Claus is coming to town.
Yeah, like the claymation or whatever.
There's not much out, unless you drive out. They're ready
Sometimes they give this,
Yes, he is. It's like, but if you get. What do you mean by that? What I mean is.
They let you do it?
Oh, yeah. Right there.
tranquil rolling and when we're at that stop it.
Are we good with pragmatic? We're not going to go off crazy.
There are beaches out there, but the problem is it's going to be cold where the land is low. Which one is going to be fine? Most of us
Sorry. I gotta get back.
Yeah, right.
You can't go, so like from Massachusetts, once you get really north of Massachusetts, once you get up into Maine.
Well, we're going after all this.
No, what we're gonna do is actually, we're going to carefully move this way. And then I don't know, like, I moved it towards the front because we're going to actually, kind of like what we have up there, with the staff values, where I'm going That's my bucket list.
Utterly insane.
How is my house, I want to decorate, I like all the exterior, I want to make children run, job.
All right, everybody grab a collar.
Let's put it up on the table like
Vernon, I'll have to come back to you.
I didn't have time to try to go back and look for anything you like for forward or.
Where would you
Yeah.
like them?
So out this
Out the short road?
Yeah, we can just put them kind of in rows, and we're gonna just.
Seriously, couple extra bucks in the budget.
there's a whole page.
No, there's not. Oh, really?
That's all right, I can do it that way.
You got it. Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it where she can see it.
I'm just doing it upside down.
No, yeah, I'm gonna do it this way so she can read it from where you're standing. I'm flipping you, honey, so you're not reading upside down. Maybe in about 12 or 15 years, but not today.
Man, I don't know about
All of them.
So like I'm back in grade school.
Yep.
We still got one.
Okay.
They teach you this. What you do today is fellowship. Move close to delicately. It's way easier said than done.
Hey, you be.
Is this where you want these?
That's perfect. Thank you.
If not, we're all sticking. We'll make it. We'll make it work. Thank you.
Okay, is that all together?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and then you go in there and it's got all the different measures under each.
Yep, perfect.
And then you just keep clicking, yeah. And then here's all the
Okay,
measures.
so if we can go ahead and if we can circle back up now that I have this thing back. We can circle back up again. So now we are at the third part of this, which is we've kind of got these themes that we've come up with, and not necessarily a word, but now we need to come up with a word, a value, and then we need to explain what it means to Franklin. So let me start with, let's talk for a second about the conversation that you guys just had. What did you guys think? Any reactions to the conversation?
I think it's kind of a lot of stuff.
Lot of stuff.
I think it's hard to get everybody's singular Post-its in one theme. While they somewhat kind of complemented it, not always were they a marriage.
Yes.
So, I mean, I think like Miss Ann's safety, that to me is more maybe a word, is maybe more of a word comma as opposed to a anchor theme. But then I do think there's some that are in the same family, but I still think the intent can be interpreted.
Yes.
I see what you did there. What I loved about that conversation is it was actually a good metaphor to the board. I mean, we all are so very unique in terms of our backgrounds, what we do for a living, how we came to this whole thing, what we've been a part of. And so I think a lot of the words match that, and they reflect the differences in the board. But the best part of it was we were all trying back there to find a place for everyone's thought. In a column, there wasn't this arguing, this wasn't this, this doesn't really mean. We were actually actively intentional about trying to find a place for people's words to live. And I think that's what this board right now, that's what I think of this board. Different, but trying to include each other's thoughts.
Absolutely. And I would second that, just as an observer. That's what I was hearing.
Yeah, I was just going to chime in. I appreciated it when you stood in the back, and we had a slight small conversation. It was nice to be involved, but with all of these type A personalities wanting to get their positions across, it was so respectful of seeing everybody not trying to step on each other's toes, but really having a level of respect for what the concept, what the idea was. And I thought
Special sauce, I'm telling you.
yeah, there it is.
Yeah. And there's a reason why, this is old school, right? Post-its, Sharpies, whatever. Sometimes it's not about sometimes the outcome, sometimes it's about the process and about the conversations that you guys just had. That was an important part of this process, right? Was kind of working through this. And I think that sometimes regardless of maybe the actual word itself, what I was hearing was you guys figuring out that the themes, like kind of some of the things that you were thinking were the same, even though if you were expressing it a little bit differently. The priorities are a lot the same. Anybody else, please?
I heard all of that.
And there's humor.
And there's humor.
Sense of humor.
All right, so the last thing that we are going to do then is we are going to now actually take this and turn it into some words with an explanation of what it means to Franklin. So again, just a little bit of an explanation. If we think about the word innovation, and there's a million other ways that you can define innovation, but innovation is one that comes up a lot in local government that you can define in a whole lot of ways. So here are 4 of the ways that I have heard it defined for local government that are all slightly different. And 3 of these are actually from communities I've worked with, and the 4th is I tweaked a little bit based on some stuff that I had heard. Open to new ideas and ways of doing things, really kind of that emphasis on open to new ideas. Strive to always learn, that emphasis on learning, right? Strive to creatively improve, emphasis on creative and improvement, and also about services. Leveraging new ideas and incorporating technology. This was a community that really was about, they liked the shiny, cool stuff, right? Nothing wrong with that. That was a priority for them, was being able to really do a lot of things for their community remotely. So we need to kind of take this now, define, take it, bring it down to kind of one word, but take all of the rest of this and kind of figure out what exactly, how are we going to incorporate this into what the values are for Franklin. And again, remind you, this is not just for you guys, but this is also for the police officer on the street, the public works person who is interacting with their community. These are the words that are going to guide their interactions with your residents.
No pressure.
No pressure, no pressure.
But I think they need to be a part of that as well, because we have a very unique role.
They are going to be doing staff values.
Okay, I don't want us to set the tone or the, word potpourri and then feel like, oh, nobody cares about me.
But that's part of the role, though, of the governing board, is to set the tone for that, but then we will also be doing staff values as well. But that is part of, this is how you see for the community.
This is where I push back.
That's what, if you look at how businesses run, good corporate businesses that are very successful, the board of directors, the CEO, the leadership sets the culture. And if you have a void in the culture, you have a disaster going to happen in a corporation.
I'm not saying, I'm
So-
saying a mixture.
Yeah, but the corporation is the identity, and the leaders have to give that identity, set that tone, set that culture, and get the people on board for that. But they also listen to their people, and they have input from their people. But if the leaders don't set the tone and the culture, and then you have no nucleus for the company.
So this may help. This Friday, we're going to have a day-long retreat with our leadership team. A similar effort and exercise is going to happen there with that group. So that's your department directors and other key leaders. And then, as Corey referenced, this process also has elements where full staff opportunity to participate as well. So it's going to kind of come from you into our leadership team all the way into the organization, and then it's going to come back up. So that's the idea, that it sort of starts here, but then we work it through and see how it resonates, and there may be other layers to this or other things to refine, but it's meant to be inclusive of everybody, but it has to start with you all.
And let me also speak to the reason why I do this work is because I started as a 911 dispatcher and I did not feel heard. and I do not do that. So that is something that is important to me in organizations, is that voices are heard. So this is what we are doing today, but there will be other opportunities because that is something that is very personally important to me in the work I do. We good? Okay. So, rumor has it there's a game that's starting in 49 minutes, no pressure. So, lots of good conversation back there. Let's start with, well, actually, I'm gonna hand this off a little bit. Because you guys, I was kind of letting you guys have the conversation, so who can help me kind of start working through some of this? Who feels like they could help me? Let's take this one. The words I have here are wisdom, leadership, teamwork, collaboration, capable, professional, excellence.
When I think about that, sorry, you gotta get my hand up.
So in the leadership, there's a little bit of a mix, but I think we can find a path. The leadership to me was that we continue to be first as a city on a lot of fronts. Impressively so, not only in this state, but I think just in America. I think we tend to be a forward-thinking sort of leadership organization. And I don't think we mail that in. I think we take leadership role in places where we know where we can be excellent at it. And if we are going to take a leadership role, I think we bring in the people to ensure that we do excellence. In fact, I don't know that we take a leadership role in things that we don't think that we would do very well or that we don't have the resources to do well. So I think that some of what you're seeing in that leadership is that, yes, it's great leadership, but it's as a group, as a city, we tend to want to lead, not follow other organizations and do so in an excellent way. That's what I think that bucket of, to me, that's what that bucket means.
Okay.
I think I would say it a little differently in that people across the state look to see what our best practices are and how we vetted them and came up with what we did. And, you know, so many cities would like to be like Franklin. And I think we have a huge responsibility as we do things to make sure that what we're doing is the best practice, and we're setting the tone for the future for other communities.
I like that. I like that framing just because it's how we're viewed. You know, it's hard to go out and pronounce yourself as a leader. Sorry.
I think it's hard to go out. It's hard to go out and pronounce yourself as a leader. I think people see you as a leader. So I like your framing, Mayor, because I think that we're seen as the leaders that we are. We want to be leaders, but I think the reality is we're seen as that too. So I like that.
Yeah.
And I just want to make sure that we stay on track. We're talking about values for the organization. And so there's lots of, and I've already forgotten the other things on there other than leadership because of the conversation. So I think that would be helpful and then I think maybe if we started with the ones that maybe there's a little more general agreement on, or at least, this is great, but like the integrity, honesty one, I think we could knock that one out fairly quickly I don't want to get off track here, but
Yep.
there are a couple of them that are kind of like, we're after mold.
Let's run through this one quick, and then we can go.
Yeah,
to
what were the other?
Yep. Wisdom, leadership, teamwork, collaboration, capable, professional, excellence.
So how would you frame, so we've talked about, the mayor's talked about where other people in the state look to us as leaders, and so how would you frame that as a value for the organization? I feel like we look at leadership from our perspective maybe differently as we're thinking from the board level as we're talking, rather than a value. Does that make sense? Like we're talking about leadership in our role,
I think.
but how is it leadership? Why is leadership a value of the organization? Not how are we leaders, but why is it a value?
Let me ask, and you guys, and by the way, when we do this part of it, you can fully tell me no. As a matter of fact, please tell me no if I am not reflecting to you what it is that I think I'm hearing, right? Because this is, I'm going to leave and I'm going to go home and these are going to be your values. So
And by the
if-
way, I agreed that leadership's a value.
Yeah.
I'm just asking.
So
why
here's what I feel like I'm hearing, is I feel like what I'm hearing a value is a culture of excellence.
Agreed. I'll say excellence is the start, and then all those wisdom and all those other things come into it, whether you're in leadership or not.
Jason?
And I was trying to drill it down as well and remember all of them, but I had values-driven leaders and team members striving for excellence.
Mm-hmm.
But getting it down to that one word is the goal that you're trying to hit right now, right?
We could
No?
fudge that a
You can
little
do
bit. Yeah,
work-life
we could fudge it a little
balance,
bit,
and
yeah.
I like culture of excellence because there's a lot of those that can fit underneath there.
So,
You've got one.
Take a timeout.
My only note on this one is, you can be excellent and not be a leader,
yes.
but it's really hard to be a leader and not have excellence. So
Yep.
if you really want to be about best practices and setting standards, if you're I was given the example, if you work in the water department here, and you have the knowledge that you work in a department that's bringing a pilot program that doesn't exist in the state of Tennessee or even in this area, like I'm part of a leadership group, regardless of what role you have in that water department, you're part of a department that's bringing leadership, that's demonstrating a leadership role of best practice and something to be admired. And that's a big deal in this city, I think. But
And my debate is not that leadership should not be included. I don't think it should be the root word, because I think that there's too much confusion into what you're saying versus what people can take at face value.
which is why that sentence is really important. Yeah.
Promote best practices based on knowledge, innovation, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
So the other words just were two excellences.
Yep.
Two excellences, one professional, capable, collaboration, teamwork, couple of leaderships, one wisdom. So I do feel like it's probably more tenets of excellence or excellence, you're capable, you're collaborative. I don't know, I think we can flesh it out in the definition. And the definition, or whatever the word, should include leadership. But excellence is more applicable to a variety of situations. I feel like it's more of a value that can be applied in a lot of different situations, including leadership, but also including customer service, or.
I am going to suggest that we think of leadership not just as the word leadership, but also the word lead. I'm going to suggest that we kind of enlarge that definition a little bit, because I think it may give us a little bit more to play with.
Sorry, what word did you say?
Lead. Not just leadership, but also lead. I think it might give us a little bit more to play with in this. So if we are,
Lead in best practices and a culture of excellence.
Here you go. Well, you gotta have a root somewhere. Like what's your...
It seems as if culture of excellence is the root, and then how you achieve a culture of excellence that's all encompassing different underlying things like leadership, like collaboration, like capability, professionalism, and excellence. So you could almost start with excellence as the root and then bolt on the other words, including wisdom.
I think we are going to leave this here for just a minute, and we're going to come back to it and give us a chance to kind of noodle over it a little bit. I think we're close. What's the easy one, Patrick? Where are we going next?
Oh, sorry. The ethical integrity column. I feel like that's a pretty
Ethical. Okay, so the words we have here are, and if it is easier for you guys to come over here and for us to keep on, if it's easier to sit or it's easier to stand, it makes no difference to me. What I have over here, ethical, integrity, 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 ethical, character, ethical, honesty, character. I'm seeing a theme.
Last minute adjustment.
Okay.
Moving character to sense of humor.
Okay.
Because I meant like, yeah, no, that was my 9B. 9B.
All right.
I moved character over for a reason, but I think
35 minutes, guys.
I think
35 minutes.
I think ethical is
We have got honesty, ethical, integrity.
Character is on
and character.
And yeah,
Someone
one
else's
and
character.
one over there. Yep.
Yeah.
So reset us, you want us to get to where?
Something that looks like that. And I think the gimme here is that we either start with integrity, ethical, or character, and we put the other words in there.
I like character as the rate that passes me.
I moved character because in my mind, character meant more culture or specialness of a community, so like a tangible character of a home, if you will, as opposed to in character fortitude.
I was thinking the opposite meaning of character.
But that may be what the other character is.
Being respectful and having integrity and.
A person of character.
Yeah, person or organization.
Thank
Person of
you.
character.
Yes.
Yeah.
I probably move more toward integrity.
Yeah, I would think
I
that.
like the integrity word a little better.
All right.
I like the summary that they put up there. We say what we mean and we do what we say. It's I don't know how to necessarily improve on that, but I think that takes us where we need to be.
So I just, from where I am standing, saw integrity, and I saw most of the heads around this table nodding with that. So you are liking what is up there. I think the only thing that we are missing out of that is maybe the ethical part of that.
We gotta have that.
Yeah, we work ethically to achieve results by saying what we mean and doing what we say.
To me, that's a part of integrity.
I thought it was.
It is. But I think in whatever short phrase we have, I think the word ethic or some a word like it should be in the value. Although it's like include. I mean.
But I think there's a difference, a nuance here between integrity, saying what we mean and doing what we say, and ethics, because ethics means within the boundaries that are appropriate.
And this is my own personal bias. I like the "we are" because that way you own it. It's we are telling everybody what we do. So that's my own personal bias with values, is that we start it with "we are." Doesn't work with all of them, and if it doesn't work, I'm okay with that. But I prefer to start them with "we are." So integrity, we are ethical.
Our decision-making processes, our operations.
Serve the community with integrity in the highest ethical manner.
How about maybe as simple as we are ethical in the way we serve?
Our words and actions.
We're a
are
city of
aligned.
ethical character. You can get it both. Integrity is our word, right?
There was two good thoughts, go.
Sorry.
No, go.
We are a city of ethical character.
City of ethical character.
I like, you gotta reference ethics, I agree, but like words and actions being in harmony, being of high character too is,
Mhm.
I think, something that gets at what I think you meant by character. I don't know if there's a way to blend those together.
Tell me what you said one more time.
What character outside of? Okay, sorry. I think if I'm like sitting there thinking about the value, like what
Matt,
just a little higher.
He's gonna look you.
What? Yeah, that we say when you're looking at it as a value, like what character? You say we're people of character.
high character.
High character. that as a subset of integrity and ethical, it kind of feels like I feel like we have a risk of being redundant to some degree.
When it says, right, but no offense, when it says we say what we mean and we do what we say, that doesn't sound like our style. It sounds very cavalier. And I think we are a little bit more, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. That does not sound like us.
That's why I got to words and actions.
Yeah.
I think that's more us.
Yeah, and our decisions
are
and
aligned
actions.
with
Yeah.
ethical standards and high character.
I think you said, and then I kind of blended it, we
Well,
ethically serve, we gotta get more mics.
We not the budget.
Not the budget. Good. We are budget minded. We are frugal.
Frugal.
Yes. Integrity, we ethically serve our community daily.
Oh.
Is that what yours was?
Time frame.
What was yours?
My memory isn't all that good, but we serve our community with integrity and honesty in our services to our community. It's not quite coming out right.
How about integrity? We are ethical in the way we serve our community. It's kind of, I'm sorry?
I like that.
Yeah.
But it almost needs a little bit more.
We ethically serve our community.
So I am going to clean this up a little bit when we're done, but just because we've got like 6 more to go. And you guys, after this is done, we will come back and we can tweak a little bit when I come back with mission and vision too, but it's important to get as much of this done tonight as we can. So we're gonna leave this here for right now, and if we have time to come back, we'll revisit. Let's do, innovative, future-focused, focused, visionary, future-focused, resourceful, change, continuous improvement.
Those again?
Innovative, future-focused, focused, visionary, future-focused, resourceful, change, continuous improvement.
Which one was the most? Counted them?
Future-focused is twice, focused is once,
Innovative is twice.
innovative is twice.
It's ironic. Sometimes when you think of municipal government, you don't think it's innovative.
It's aspirational.
No, I think innovative. With the budget and strategic planning or innovations.
Yep. Yep. No, and actually, I feel like Franklin, Tennessee is one of those places that could say they were innovative and actually back it up.
Well, one of the things, but I just said to Matt, I think it's also important that we have not preservation like Heritage Foundation, but we can't be so forward-looking that we're not honoring where we came from. So Matt crafted a word.
Are we allowed, well, we're allowed to use more than, we did future focused and historically respectful, or while historically respectful.
That would be more of a mission statement.
Yeah. The problem is that only future focused, you're right, we did miss some of that.
Yep.
Well, it is unless part of the future includes the past. And you're focused on the future, but in the future, the past is a part of that as well.
Is that understood?
I think you could define it in the.
Yeah.
I will
Okay.
say, as someone who also does this every day of their life, that I do have a real problem with innovative. It's just so overused. I don't really know that city government, I think we're a leader. I think we try new things, but I think it's really hard to consider innovative. I'd even say, like some of the examples you gave, and not criticizing that work, but reacting to other stimulus or whatever is not really innovative. Innovative is, no one's doing this, we're going to step out and we're going to try something. And
Yep.
I just don't know that I would see that I think it would be credible and authentic to a government body to be truly innovative. But I think there's words in there. I think to be forward, to have some vision. I think to have some forethought, to be focused ahead. I think so. But innovative just makes me cringe.
Yeah, resourceful. What about the
And-
demonstration facility?
Is future focused the anchor word that we
We
feel
didn't
is?
create that. It's been done. That
How about
pilot
forward
program,
thinking?
but that's leadership, not necessarily. We didn't innovate that idea. That idea is being done in a lot of places, but we took a leadership role to bring it. But we didn't innovate that. We didn't create that process.
So I do want to stick with some of the words we've already got figured out. So things like future-focused, visionary, change, continuous improvement, focused, resourceful. Yes.
So I'll chime in. I might politely disagree with my colleague in that I'm out of here. I hear what Matt. I hear what you're saying, and that you see it every day because this is your industry. I mean, this is where you are all the time. But as my first comment was, wow, I think it's ironic to call a municipal organization innovative. But hearing the small comments that kind of came around, I thought, you're right. I mean, and the mayor said it, the state of Tennessee and other municipal organizations around the country look at Franklin as an innovative organization. And there's a reason why we're at the top of all those different lists. We're doing things outside of the box. You can't necessarily say outside of the box, but there is, unless we come up with a different word for innovative, it's there 3 or 4 times. So it's worth the review. I think future focus doesn't capture it. I think the other one that we had here was visionary. Visionary might do it. And then we also had resourcewell. Here, let me bring this to you, Mr. Brown.
I'm just using the pilot program as an example, but I think that is visionary. I think people bringing an idea like that to completely change how we process, water and all that, I think is visionary. But it's not, no doubt. I think that's visionary. I don't think it's innovative because we didn't create it, but I do think it's visionary that we would bring it here, for sure.
Okay, I could go with that.
Can
Well, we
everybody
were
live with
desperate
visionary?
because we didn't have any other way.
Visionary it is. Okay, so our other words then are future-focused, innovative, resourceful, change, continuous improvement.
Not allowed to do anything visionary that is innovative. So, just by the definition.
I'd like to read this out here. We strive to creatively improve our services in our community.
Oh, I'm not saying like that way.
Improvement is not innovation, right? And that's what I'm trying to avoid, is I'm trying to avoid locking this into a term that people go, innovation. Like, I think we have vision where we want to go as a city. I think we have a vision for what the city can be. And I think we do great things in the city to meet that vision. I don't know that I would consider them all to be innovative.
Well, but I wonder if
Sometimes you don't need innovation.
if the forward focus means we're always looking ahead. That's why I put focus, because we're always planning ahead, looking ahead.
I would be curious to hear staff's feedback on that. Just because I think.
I want to offer something.
Not now.
Let me give you something real quick, though, because.
After your, in your session.
Real quick.
We do struggle with the innovation word. Because it's one of our 5 core goals you see on those banners, because not everybody's work is innovative. But we do want to be forward-looking, open to new ways and better ways to do things, because the idea is what's good enough today may not be good enough tomorrow. So we got to be thinking and rethinking about those. So that's a little different than innovation, but it is something that we want everybody to be thinking about ways to do better and to meet evolving needs in the community. So it's not, there is a place for innovation, but not everybody's job is innovation. I don't want an innovative accountant. I want a really good accountant that cares about their job and maybe thinks of a better way to do it, but they're not like, you know.
Math is math is math.
Yeah, certain things. Maybe a bad example.
Describe the difference between resourceful and innovative with the accountant.
But I do like the concept of forward-looking, or, you know, we've got to be anticipating the needs of our community. So that can lead to innovation, but it's bigger than that.
Can I avoid the whole innovation thing? Can I call visionary then, future focused and resourceful? Because I think that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah. Yep.
Less is more.
All right, approachable community, welcoming, healthy, approachable.
If you don't mind.
Yep, approachable. I've got 3 approachables. A community, a welcoming, healthy, inviting, accessible, ADA and other, relationships.
I think welcoming.
Welcoming?
Approachable is
There are 3 approachables.
3 approachables?
3 approachables.
And I was one of the approachables, and maybe it is relationships, but, you know, I see sometimes people are afraid to say something to us as board members or aldermen, mayor, and we should be very approachable.
I'm still looking for
citizens.
that person.
I'm sorry?
I'm still looking for that person that's afraid to approach us.
That's right, I am too. Everybody I know just lets me
Yeah,
know.
that gets over that sense of humor one we'll be to in a minute, yeah.
I think I've ever met a member.
Y'all want this one over there, and I'll just.
Half the struggle is the mics.
Based on feedback.
I have yet to meet a person on staff in this city that I didn't feel like I could ask a question of or ask help of. I've watched interactions between residents and staff, and incredibly approachable, you know, listening. I've just been, I mean, our staff is pretty incredible, but open to people, like just like okay with people coming to them, and I don't know. That's why I think approachable is a great word.
I don't want to overlook the welcoming, inviting component for our community beyond government. So on the one hand, it's certainly come in and share your thoughts, and we'll work to try to find the best solution under the government. I think the other component as we think about, this is hard for me, going back to Bev's original question, are we talking about ourselves? Are we talking about the city of Franklin? Because I think welcoming, inviting, and approachable probably describes 99.5% of the residents here as well.
But we're not giving them value.
That's true.
This is value for us and the 800 staff members.
So what do you guys think of?
But I agree. I want our values to reflect the community as well, and what we believe are important for the community.
What do you think of approachable? We're welcoming, inviting to our community and each other.
Was collaboration in
That was not in that one.
there? Okay, gotcha. Okay.
It's coming.
It's good.
It's coming.
I like approachable. I'll just put it out there. I was more focused on community, but I feel like approachable is almost, and maybe I take it for granted. Yeah, I see it on the right over there. I feel like approachable is a given in our community, and maybe that's why it needs to be there. It is one of our strengths, and everything that you're saying, I haven't ever seen one of our colleagues, one of our team members not be welcoming in dealing with somebody's situation. So,
Can I offer a word?
sure.
Engaging? Engaged? Is that at a layer too or not?
Engaging community.
Or maybe just layer that on?
Engaged at the, perhaps engaged is the word, and we are approachable, welcoming, and
Engaged.
yeah, engaged is the primary word.
So I feel like we're kind of, I mean, again, welcoming and inviting. I feel like it's probably too,
The same word.
saying the same thing. I think
Okay.
engaging, like the whole thing about being approachable is that when you come to the city, whatever stakeholder you are, the public, the staff person, an alderman, like we're going to engage with you, and we are going to be welcoming, or I don't know, welcoming probably isn't even.
Well, Patrick,
Welcoming and inviting is not the word. That's if we're talking about this approachability, it's whatever stakeholder comes and interacts with the city of Franklin. How should they feel? They should feel able to approach. But there's another word that I think is probably welcoming, inviting. Like we don't want, like this isn't like Denny's. You know, like you come in and we're like, hey, welcome. But like it's like, what is that?
That's
word
kind of
mean?
why I went to engage, because I think
Engage
that's a deeper level.
It does. It's engaged in something else.
Because it's also, it's like working together to solve something, you're engaged.
Yeah.
Is
As
it-
opposed to, I'm just nice to you.
Right.
Is it
That feels like
engaging?
just nice.
Engaging or engage, yeah.
But does this all focus around service?
That's another line.
Yeah.
Yeah, service is,
So we do have Gabe starting.
I like the word engaged as the root word, and that how we demonstrate our engagement is by being approachable, welcoming, and inviting. And I don't know, but for what it's worth, for the continuation of the discussion, I think that inviting and welcoming are two very different and very distinct words. Inviting means I'm asking you to come to me. Welcoming means when you come on your own volition, I'm going to be, yes. And I think that the city needs to not only bring our residents in, but when our residents come in on their own, we need to accept and welcome them.
All right, we are going to our goal tonight is going to get 80% there on the rest of these. You ready? Here we go. The next one. Lots of service. We've got three times. Results, impactful, hardworking, results-oriented, hard work, responsiveness. All of that.
All the customer focus, is that?
All of that, customer service, yes, customer focus as well,
Response.
above and beyond.
Results oriented sounds very cliche, but that's what it is.
Results oriented?
He's saying nay, nay, not yay.
Well, I'm saying it's cliche, but it pulls it all together.
Does that sound results oriented?
I don't like it, but I can play with it.
that just kind of leaves out the service.
The customer focus, customer service focus.
Something that's related, what do you guys think about above and beyond? Because, no?
Sounds like a boardroom.
Okay,
Culture of responsiveness and service.
I'm sorry?
Culture of responsiveness and service.
Yeah, the thing that results oriented doesn't, we're too much about people. I mean, one of the things I love about our city administrators, he cries a lot. And so, and I mean that as a compliment. I really do. I do it every time I mean it as a comment. But I think we're results oriented, but it's never at the exception of people, or never at the expense of people. So.
Should it be people-oriented?
Customer
But we're
focus.
service oriented.
Yeah, customer focus
Yes.
because if you take everything in here, with the exception of results oriented, if you are focused on the customer, you're going to be hardworking, you're going to be knowledgeable, you're going to go above and beyond, you're going to be reliable, you're going to be results oriented actually probably too. I feel like the customer, and I just as a value, just because I've come from the service business, like I would love for from the janitor in City Hall all the way to Eric to be thinking of everyone they interact with as a customer. Like I would love, I mean it already is that focus, but I would love to double down on that because I think the community my pleasure. Chick-fil-A kind of focus, not that we need to do that, but.
Could you do
people focus?
Can I ask something? So what, I'm getting this culture of responsiveness and service. Does doing culture of responsiveness and service, or responsiveness and service, and saying we are customer focused and results oriented?
There's no people in there either. Okay, what'd you say again?
Customer focused and
I
results
think
oriented.
back to the,
You like people better than customer.
People?
Yeah, people.
People? Yep.
Because that goes back to relationships, because we didn't know how to fit in there.
Nope, that's.
but I go back to the paving company that ran over a mailbox, and the homeowner called our streets department and said, they just ran over my mailbox, and they said, well, here's the number you need to call for that company. They said, no, wait a minute, we'll just come out there and fix it. That's
people
that's our
focused.
team.
Yep.
They care.
Yep.
They want to respond to.
The firefighters that change a tire on the side of the road.
Yeah.
Or Eric, who walked up the stairs to my office because I forgot to take my trash can out one day, and he said,
Did you forget your trash? And I went and got my trash. So, I mean, that's pretty awesome.
Not this Eric, Eric Wilson.
Right, right. Not Eric. Not that Eric. Right. Eric Wilson.
That's enforcement.
But it brought a tear to my eye when I heard about it.
All right, guys, we're on a roll. Let's bring her home. You ready?
right.
Concern for others, gratitude, encouraging, respectful, respect for others, dedication, caring, caring heart.
Just to be able to take care of this.
I got 2 carings, a dedication, a heart, respect for others, respectful, encouraging, gratitude, concern for others.
I was jealous that Brandy introduced heart, and I didn't think of that. But I thought that was, because I do think respect, when you have respect and compassion and you care or whatever, that it is heart. And I think we do have a heart as a city. So
Don't trademark it.
Heart.
Yeah.
Well, and heart in this arena could be a little bit unorthodox, but I think that's what sets us apart.
I like it.
Because all those extra steps we take is because we care.
Yep.
Okay.
So I have
Somebody
caring,
even put a star on it.
respectful, encouraging, concern for others, and dedication.
I definitely think respectful.
out of respect for others.
Should be, that should be.
It's already gone.
Anybody else want to add to that?
It was on it.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna wordsmith that, but it's care and respect. I'm gonna need to take lots of pictures and
Yeah.
we'll wordsmith a little bit, but we are so close, you guys. Aha, sense of humor.
Uh-oh.
You're on. Sense of humor,
want
humor,
Clyde to read off on
communication, character.
In communication.
Yep. 2, a humor, a sense of humor, 2 communications, and a character. We are so close, guys. Come on, we can do this.
Is that its own value?
What it?
I mean, do we really think that, I mean, I'm finding it hard to, do we want to set a cultural or a organizational goal?
Oh, my bad.
I mean, I think humor is good, but do we want one of our major goal of values to be communication? I mean, maybe it is, or would those tie into some of the other ones that we've already done possibly, somehow? I know we didn't.
I think communication's definitely.
Communication for sure.
Value for it.
Absolutely.
So number 2 up there on the examples is openness, be receptive to listen, communicate openly. And you were talking communicate, character.
Mhm.
I don't remember what the other ones were, but.
Humor.
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 Mhm.
I think it is a value. I don't know if openness is the right word, but I think there needs to be a word.
the part that I thought, not speaking for Clyde, but that he brought in with that humor thing was, we don't take ourselves. We have a serious job to do, but we don't take ourselves serious all the time. Like we can have fun with each other. I mean, we got to stand out in the hallway with no head on it. I mean, I think, we clearly have the ability.
We were fine with it.
I took a picture.
Just saying.
I just
I don't-
said
We did.
lost it.
Yeah, we enjoy. I mean, there is joy.
I think fun and humor might be a little bit
What
too.
about joy?
Oh,
Joy.
Yeah.
Can't take my joy.
but then yeah. Mm.
I just think if we're building a 10-year strategic plan,
Oh, yeah.
I think we should maybe be a little bit broader than the humor, just the humor, the joy or the enjoyment. I don't know. This is a difficult one. I struggled with this column. But I know that the tenets are there that I would like to be in our values. It's hard to pull those into one kind of.
I'm going
the
to stick a
communication.
pin in this one for just a minute. We're going to go to the other one. We're going to circle back.
Could we work joy and humor in this heart? Is that?
I think to me,
Is that closer to that
okay.
word than?
I don't know that we need to put humor as a value.
But
I
joy,
would-
this idea of joy and
But
passion,
humor can come back and bite you.
Yeah, but it says.
joy and passion for the work?
Joy.
I think for me, the word character meant there was a sense of heart or a warmth, so to speak. And I feel like that's what we're trying to say with humor is it's not this starch, cold, kind of what I think of when I think of a governmental building. It's not all cinder blocks and suits. It's, yeah.
You have to
Warmth.
keep the joy down in your heart.
There's joy in the work.
Joy in the work, that's like.
And I work, we have to words, yeah.
Service to others, I think is providing joy or something like services.
Customer service.
Yeah. Let's do this last one and then let's circle back real quick, 'cause I think we're on to something, but I think it may just need a second to percolate. Last one. I've got 2 pragmatics, an intentional, a reasonable, a fair, and a flexible. And guys, we are so close. We have 4 minutes. We can do it.
I don't want us to shove it to get to a time frame though.
Okay.
I mean,
Are we?
because what will happen is we'll undo it and go, we didn't say that, did we?
Well, I would not do that if we guys had not already had conversation. And if we're forcing it, I don't want to force
I
it,
feel
but you
like
guys
we're
had.
forcing it.
Okay.
And we did have an issue.
We never called time in, but we're good. Of the 4, intentional, fair, flexible, and pragmatic, I like intentional.
Okay.
Because I feel like you can be intentional in your actions, intentional in your purpose, your planning.
No, I agree, yeah. No, I'm just.
I think you almost said it there, Jason. Intentional could be the root word, and we approach intentionality with a pragmatic and reasonable and fair. I just said the 3 words. That was it. That was it.
Problem solving.
Check.
As a pilot, I just landed the plane here.
Good job, Greg.
Now somebody.
Laying you're down.
I did. That's.
So now you're ready for your solo flight. You can take communication and.
I've done that before. It's a lot more fun from the ground.
What's next?
That's it.
Where did we leave that first?
We left the first one with culture of excellence, and we've got lead, wisdom, and team.
What's that yellow? Is that professional?
Professional, yep. Here is what I would like to do. I feel, guys, like we're about 85% of the way there. I would like to, based on the conversation we've had tonight, and I may grab this tape later, I would like to spend a little bit of time with this, wordsmith it a little bit without a mic.
We only got one. Thanks, guys.
And when I come back to work with you guys on mission and values, present you guys something, and you can let me know if we're most of the way there. How does that sound? All right.
Yeah, I think we need a little more time.
Yeah, let it sit.
Group on it, for sure. We do need more time to group on it.
Okay.
So would it help if we send out to you this working draft type stuff to ponder, or what?
I think we need to be together.
In between?
Yeah, I think if we start
Just to
doing
think
that,
about
we're
it.
gonna undo it and everybody's gonna come back with something different. I
Probably
think
need
we
to work
just,
together.
I think we do it in this setting and
Cool.
then everybody's like, you
Yep.
had your opportunity.
Yeah.
No, when I come back and we do, again, because this is foundational for vision and mission, so we want to have this set for that conversation. So when we come back to do that, we can do that then. All right.
Can I make one small, rather than saying
Yeah.
culture of excellence, can I say professional excellence? Professional excellence, and maybe that doesn't work out in the long run, but
Last minute changes.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's it.
Back together. I mean, I don't disagree with that, but I would probably have something to say about where the professional would go. But I think we just need a little bit more time. We had a little, the mayor said it well, a little more time together.
So let's, if it's okay, then let's do this. Let's call it tonight at 6:59, because we promised. I will be back with you guys, and we'll finish this off.
And maybe we schedule just some separate time, even to rehash this a little bit when you're here.
It would ordinarily be part of mission and vision, because we ordinarily would revisit that and just kind of affirm that anyway, and also to look at values. So we can go ahead and incorporate that. I will just make sure we have some additional time. I think we did a lot of good work. I think that we are, again, about 80% of the way there. It's just landing that plane.
Thank you.
That sound good?
Yeah. That looks good.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for their time. Thank you.